Evan Beach, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I was really looking forward to having you, actually. I have lots of CrossFit questions and health and fitness questions.
Good. I'm hoping I can apprise you of what I know.
What, we were talking, let's just jump in right here. We were talking right before the podcast a little bit about psychedelics and Michael Pollan, and I pointed this book back here, How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. You said Michael Pollan has actually made a difference in your life, and it wasn't even through that book. What's all that about?
Yeah, so back in 2008, when I was studying nutrition at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, I was kind of getting into, like, I guess if you will, paleo type diet. Like I was researching that, and this is right around the time also that I kind of was learning or heard about CrossFit. And Michael Pollan's book, I went to my parents' house one time. My dad actually rented it, and I think 2008 is when the book In Defense of Food, which is the one I'm referring to, came out. My dad had actually rented it or borrowed it from the library, whatever you do. Do you rent books from the library?
I think you just pick them up.
Okay. I don't know what word
how does the library work? He's been there with.
Do you borrow or rent?
I think you borrow. I think you borrow. I think if you have a library card, you just take the stuff.
Okay.
And then if it's late, then they charge you a fee, and that's how they maybe make their money.
Anyway, it was on my dad's table, and I picked it up and flipped through some of it, and I kind of recited one of these pages was talking about omega-3 fats, and I was telling my dad that I was like, I was actually researching this stuff, and he's like, wow, you know quite a bit about it. It's like, have you read that book before? I was like, no, I haven't. But I went home, and I think I ordered a copy. I got a copy somehow, I don't know. And it's a really good book, and it kind of opened my eyes to what I was, I guess, really interested at the time, which is nutrition, how it affects your life, where it comes from, and how it plays a role in everyone's well-being. Mm-hmm.
Did you grow up in Wisconsin?
I did.
I didn't know that.
A suburb of, I was born in the city of Milwaukee, but I grew up mostly in Shorewood, Wisconsin for probably close to 7 years, something like that. And then Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin for middle school and high school.
Do you have siblings?
Yes. 3 brothers. I've got one older brother and 2 younger brothers. Yeah.
So there's 4 of you? 4 brothers.
4 boys.
And is health and fitness, it strikes me as maybe not abnormal, but I don't think your average house has a book in defense of food that the dad's reading. So is your whole kind of family geared towards health and fitness?
Right.
Or?
To be honest, I would say, especially back then, back in 2008, my dad didn't really have an interest in eating well. So it was just luck that he happened to rent that book from the library, I think. Because growing up, there was never like any push on the kids to eat well, right? So although my parents did exercise a lot, they never followed a specific diet or pushed certain foods on us. They tried to make us eat veggies, right, as kids, because that was just the ubiquitous, it's healthy for you that everyone knows, right? Eat your veggies.
Yeah.
But no, health and fitness wasn't really pushed on us as children.
Okay. Are your brothers into CrossFit or exercise in any?
So my older brother, we're all 3 years apart. My older brother is pretty healthy. He works out quite a bit, and he was a member of a CrossFit gym back in 2013, 2014 for a little while, but he no longer is a member at a CrossFit gym. He's just a member at a normal gym and does CrossFit type workouts there.
Oh, okay.
But he exercises regularly.
Mm-hmm. Any of the brothers in Nashville?
No, they're all still in Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
2 younger brothers are not healthy. Do not exercise. Yeah, unfortunately. So even though I've made a whole career and my livelihood is CrossFit, it hasn't been enough to convince my 2 younger brothers that they should do it. Even though I've forced them to do it whenever they come and visit me.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. Yes.
But isn't that the worst though? Like if someone doesn't work out, if they go do a CrossFit workout like twice in a weekend or something. Like,
yeah.
That's got to be so, I mean, those poor guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've started and stopped CrossFit, I don't know, 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years. And every time I restart, I go real slow and easy for the first couple weeks.
Oh, I'm a witness of that.
Yeah. I've restarted your gym like probably 2 or 3 of those times.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know you studied nutrition in college. Was that an area of interest that kind of, came on late, or is that something you've been interested in, like in high school? Or?
It came on late for sure. In high school, believe it or not, I was a vegetarian for a few years, like a year and a half, 2 years, for the entire purpose of trying to save the animals. Right?
Really?
There was no health aspect I think I was trying to focus on by being a vegetarian. I was just, some of my friends were doing it. You're easily influenced as a youngin', and I tried it for myself. But yeah, I'm kind of glad I got out of that.
So you went vegetarian not for the health benefits or health reasons, just looking out for the animals.
Right. Right.
What do you think? Do you think that used to be more common, or do you think today what do you think the percentage is for vegetarians today that are doing it out of kind of help or respect for the animals and versus health benefits for themselves?
It's really hard to say. I would say ever since that documentary Game Changers came out just a few months ago, I don't know if you've seen it. That I don't think that really focused on the animal's well-being.
Right.
It was more about the health benefits of it.
Yeah.
So you have this, and I've been asked by so many of my clients about that movie, and they are mostly doing it for the quote-unquote health benefits.
What are your thoughts on that, on veganism or vegetarian? Were you vegetarian or vegan?
Vegetarian.
Which is not quite as hardcore as vegan?
Right. So I didn't eat. There's, a whole bunch of different classes of vegetarianism and I guess veganism, if you will. I didn't eat animals. I didn't eat eggs, but I had a ton of cheese and milk and, animal products.
Okay.
So dairy that was like my go-to food, dairy. What do I think of it? I think, this is a touchy subject for a lot of people. I think it can work. I think, especially if you supplement with certain vitamins and maybe omega-3 fats, it can be helpful. But it's definitely something that you need to measure. If you're a vegan, especially, definitely something that you really need to pay attention to and get your blood work done. But I think it can work for people. Certain people will thrive on it. And I think certain people will do really poorly on it. But there's a noble factor in being a vegan when you're doing it for the animal's well-being. To say that it is healthier than a diet in which you consume meat is, there's no scientific, there's no empirical evidence to support that.
Right. Isn't B12 one of the most things, one of the more common things you'd want to watch out for if you're going to go vegetarian?
Right. Yeah. I think it's like impossible to get B12 from any animal products, from any plant sources. It is, if you don't have B12 in your diet, you're pretty much going to die. Like it's that essential. And then you have omega-3 fats, and while there are plant sources of omega-3 fats, like ALA, I think it's alpha linoleic acid or something like that. I think that's what it stands for. You can get it in plant sources, but your body converts it to EPA and DHA. So it's not a really good, and we're bad at converting it into these different forms of omega-3 fats that our body needs.
Mm-hmm.
And some animals are really good at converting. So ALA comes from plant sources, converting those ALA omega-3 fats into EPA and DHA. And then if we eat those animals, that's the source we get, EPA and DHA. Okay. It's confusing. I don't know if you want to get into it, but there's certain things that if you're a vegan, you should supplement with. Otherwise, you're highly likely to develop problems.
Yeah. That documentary was fascinating. Game Changers on Netflix. And then I also watched I think Joe Rogan had 2 episodes on it, because I think the one guy was on by himself. And
Chris Kresser.
Yeah, Chris Kresser was on, just him and Joe. And then they had Chris Kresser and then the guy who did the documentary, right? The fighter. What was his name? I remember. You know who I mean. He was kind of...
James something.
Yeah. But he was behind that documentary.
Right.
I don't know enough about it, honestly. But to me, it makes sense that if you are going to do that, it would make sense logically with my super beginner level of understanding of nutrition is like you're going to be missing some things. And so you want to complement those with vitamins or whatever you need to do. If you're not going to be eating this certain food group, you still need some of those benefits from that.
Yeah.
What about
so nutrition is tricky in that way. Like you'll hear Chris Kresser talk about like if you completely shun and avoid certain foods like zero meat, or there's a big group of people who are carnivores and eat simply only meat. Okay, nothing else. There's micronutrients that you'll get so vitamins and minerals that you'll get from plants that you cannot get from meat. Mm-hmm. And then there's micronutrients, vitamins and minerals that you can get from meat that you cannot get from plants. Mm-hmm. So they both have benefit.
Yes.
Right. We evolved to be omnivores, eat both, for a reason.
Yeah, totally agree. And did you ever try the carnivore diet?
Funny that you asked. Yeah. About a month ago, I did 6 days straight of nothing but meat.
Yeah.
6 days.
Eggs too?
Eggs, yes.
You did? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And cheese? I can't remember now if it's...
No cheese is... Okay, if you're eggs. Strict carnivore, it's... Meat what they typically allow is, meat, chicken, fish, eggs.
Yep. How was that?
So I stuck to mostly beef, and my diet consists of mostly meat in general, but it was not bad for those 5 days. I didn't feel a lag in energy. My bathroom habits were normal. I felt all right. It was simple in the fact that you don't have to like pick what you're going to eat. You know what you're going to eat. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. Yeah.
But it's extremely difficult in the fact that with a house, a pantry, a fridge full of other foods that you can only eat that one, that one group of foods.
Yep. Did your wife do it too, or just you?
Absolutely not.
Really?
No. Yeah.
Were you just testing it, or?
Yeah. So about a year. Let's see, July of 2018. I also did it for about a week. And then I did it again for about a week. It wasn't planned. I was just like, today, it was a Sunday, I remember. I was like, I'm only going to eat meat today. And then it went into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the last until Friday. Friday, I went to Vegas, and I wasn't only going to eat meat in Vegas when they have so many other options.
Yeah. Fall of 18, I did it for 7 days.
Nice.
Yeah, and just meat and eggs. And I enjoyed it. I don't know, I did it because I heard about it through, I think it was Jordan Peterson. And apparently it's helped his daughter who has some autoimmune diseases and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe even Jordan Peterson tried. I'm not sure. But
Michaela Peterson, his daughter, is like one of the main spokespersons for it.
Yeah. And my understanding is she still does, like, this is not like a 1 month or 2 month stint. Like, she just eats the carnivore diet all the time.
Yeah. And she's even more, I don't think she has eggs. I think she has beef and salt and water. That is her entire diet.
Wow. So I enjoyed it because I love meat. I like meat. And I'm pretty sure I do not have the healthiest gut, and so according to my wife anyway, because truthfully, if I do not exercise and I eat kind of just whatever I happen to eat and not really watch it, after I eat, I will feel sick every time. And stress has something to do with it too, but I thought it was normal. I thought everyone felt this way until we were married for a couple of years. This was 10, 12 years ago. And I just mentioned like, I kind of feel sick, like it was after dinner. And she's like, you often feel sick after you eat? I'm like, yeah, all the time.
Like, what kind of...
Everyone does, right? Everyone feels a little sick after they eat. Like, this is normal.
What's going on? Like, how do you feel sick?
My stomach feels kind of full. It feels a little bloated, and it just feels a little yucky. Like, I don't have the shits or anything. I don't feel like I need to go throw up. I just feel like just for a short period of time, hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, where I'll just feel gross. But I can tell it's just feeling gross in my gut. Mm-hmm. If I eat clean, like the diet that feels like it makes the most sense or that my body appreciates is more of a keto type. So if I eat keto and I'm working out, even just 3 days a week, then I don't feel that often. Like, I'll have to eat some crap to feel crappy. Yeah. But if I am not eating real clean and I'm not working out, I'll feel gross after I eat. Like, that's just common. And that's another thing another reason I like the, like, I guess now it's called intermittent fasting. I just think of it in terms of basically skipping breakfast and lunch. Generally, I don't eat until 1 or 2 o'clock every day. And I like to work out on an empty stomach. I feel good. And then you eat and you don't feel bad. So I've had to I think my gut's messed up. So anyhow, I wanted to try the carnivore diet because I just heard about it. So I did it for 7 days. What I liked about it is you can eat as much as you want. So you don't have to, monitor, you don't have to ration your food or starve yourself. You can eat as much as you want. But after only 7 days, I got tired of steaks, man. I didn't think I would feel that way, but I got tired of grilling or eating a bone-in ribeye. Like, I got tired of that after 7 days. Yeah. But the good thing
is... Would you have that for... Okay, so you intermittent fasted. So would you have like 2 meals?
Yes.
After 1 p.m.?
Yes. I would have a steak at around between noon and 1, generally speaking. A bone-in ribeye or, just a boneless ribeye. I don't know why I was eating so many ribeyes. I think I just went to the store and just bought a few that week. But, and then you feel full, you feel full, you feel satisfied. And then I would eat usually like at 6, 7 o'clock then and have more meat for dinner. And then my snack was bacon because I'm a ruthless snacker. That is my problem, is snacking in the evenings. So if I could have some bacon, I grew up having bedtime snack, and these guys have bedtime snack. They won't go to sleep without a bedtime snack. They get it from my side of the family. So you got to have something to eat in the evening. So that's what I liked about the carnivore diet is you could eat some bacon, you could eat some stuff in the evening. I felt good. I did feel like this is one thing I've heard that you don't have kind of the spikes in energy or the drops. And I did notice that. Like, I felt mostly, I would feel really full, but I didn't feel like my energy was going up and down all over the place. Like if you were to eat a lot of breads or sugary type stuff. But it didn't feel, I don't know enough about it. It just felt like...
You didn't feel gross after you ate
I didn't feel gross. No.
That's a good sign right there.
I think so. Yeah. It felt like it was healing. Oh, this is what it was. It was a friend who did it for like a month, and it fixed some problems for him. So I tried it for a week. I didn't feel gross, but it felt like, maybe this is not the best thing to do long term. Just because all these other things are out there, they're meant to be eaten too. So I quit after 7 days.
Yeah, and that's the main concern for most people. It's like, I follow a lot of healthcare professionals on Twitter and whatever, and we have a ton of people who are really thriving on the carnivore diet, like fixing gut issues like what you're having, fixing psychological issues, fixing obesity issues, whatever. A ton of stuff is being fixed, but we don't have that much data for how it's going to affect people long term. And that's what people's main concern is. Right. So you have people there are people that you can talk to who have just done it for dozens of years. Like I was reading about this one guy Dr. Sean Baker, who's like the doctor who's, the big spokesperson for the carnivore diet. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. But he's been doing it for several years, and he knows somebody who's been doing it for like 15 or 20 years, and this person is perfectly fine. One person, this anecdotal evidence doesn't prove anything, but that's what people are concerned about. Is it healthy long term?
Right. Yes. By the way, I forgot to offer you one of these. Do you want a CBD joint?
No, I'm good.
I've got more over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
If CBD did anything for me, I would probably
can't feel anything.
Take you up on that
It's
offer.
supposed to. This is only the second one I've had. It's supposed to make your body feel more relaxed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I've really felt anything from it, to be honest with you.
And it smells just like marijuana.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but
like
I like
identical.
Yeah, it does.
I've purchased one of those before and tried it myself.
Yeah.
I think I still have half the joint in my house.
Do you really?
Yeah.
These little suckers are $7
Are
for
they?
this right here.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But I like to smoke stuff.
Yeah,
I have for years. So
were you ever a cigarette smoker?
No. So I guess I should probably qualify that. The truth is, I haven't smoked a ton of like different types of stuff, but I do like the act of smoking something. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
made the decision to move to Nashville, basically in our woods in upstate New York, Sunday afternoon, smoking cigars. There's something about being out in the woods, being out in nature, and smoking a cigar. It's hard to beat. I was going somewhere that I was going to ask you is, we
were talking about long-term carnivore, intermittent fasting.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That book. What was in that book then in '08 that kind of, what did you see in there that resonated? What did you read that kind of changed your thought processes, or what was significant about that?
Defense of Food by Michael Pollan. Man, I don't know. There was just a ton of stuff in there that kind of made you realize that food is more than just this thing you have to do to put in your body to survive. What you put into your body matters, where it comes from matters, all sorts of that stuff. And then it kind of just opened my mind up, opened my eyes to see that what you put into your body matters, and it affects every aspect of your health. And my dad and my mom are pretty unhealthy. And I think, especially my dad, I could probably argue the same thing for my mom. Had they eaten differently, they would probably be in better health. Like my mother has had breast cancer 3 times.
Really?
Yeah. So she was first diagnosed in early 90s when I was like 10 years old. She was like 38 or 9 or something like that. Was in remission for, I think, 17 years or so. And then in 2011, she was diagnosed, or 2012, diagnosed again. And then she beat that. And then in 2017, she was diagnosed again. And now she's like 2 or 3 years in remission.
She's okay now?
Yeah. She's a nurse, and she she convinced her, and she's like 1 month away from retirement.
Oh, wow.
And she convinced her employers that, since she's got high blood pressure too, she's super high risk for coronavirus. She convinced them that she shouldn't work right now. So thankfully,
Good call.
she and my dad are just cooped up at their house.
No way. Did she have to go back and work a month and then retire, or can she just retire now?
I guess we'll see what happens with this coronavirus stuff.
Okay.
But she's waiting for her 65th birthday in early May to retire and get Medicare?
Okay.
When you retire?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so luckily she's not working right now.
Yeah.
And my dad just plethora heart disease, arthritis, hypertension, pretty much everything but diabetes and cancer. He's a little bit older. He's almost 75, and you know what? I don't want to end up like that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people on his side of the family have died of a heart attack. He's had several heart attacks.
Oh, wow.
And basically, it's up to me to fix that. I'm a true believer in genetics loading the gun, right? But your lifestyle and your actions pull the trigger, right? So you might be handed a shitty hand of cards, but you can do something about that.
Right.
And the three most important things: diet, physical activity, and I guess you could argue sleep.
Mm-hmm. Sleep is the one that doesn't get talked about a ton. When you say sleep, are you just saying, look, get 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep a night?
Right. Try to prioritize sleep.
Right.
Because it affects many other aspects of your life, and people don't really realize that.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know the science behind sleep, but for me, it's not a problem because I need sleep. If I'm not getting, if I go to bed at say 11, sleep till 7, that's 8 hours. So I think I'm generally getting 7, 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I'm grumpy, dude. I don't function. Yeah, I can't function on 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
No, I need sleep.
Yeah, and there's certain groups of people like Jocko Willink. I'm sure you're familiar with him. He posts a picture of his watch every day at 4:30 in the morning, and he talks about how he went to bed at 1 in the morning, and it's just like, but I mean, not. So he's kind of saying that sleep doesn't matter. Get up and do what you need to do anyway.
Yep.
But then you have this whole other group of people, a whole bunch of science emerging how important it is, and how. If you don't sleep, you're more likely to get this and that disease wise.
Right. Yep. I've heard that it's not so much, it matters more about how much sleep you get like in a 10-day period than it does on whether you got like 3 hours last night or 8 hours last night. And that may be the case for a lot of people, but if I'd have gotten 3 hours last night, I'd be dogging right now big time.
Yeah.
I need enough of sleep every single night.
Yeah.
But when you talk about what we put into our mouths, that is my wife has helped me tremendously in that regard because she's all about it. And without her, slapping my wrist, feeding the family really well, she's passionate about it, learning things. Like I would not be eating very good on a normal basis if it was not for her. But now that I've learned enough about it and heard her and read articles and stuff, it makes total sense. But why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to eat right? Because, if I'm watching some TV, what do I want to do? I want to eat freaking pretzels. I want to eat some chips with some salsa, or, if you go to the movies, you just want that sugary, Sour Patch Kids, all that crap.
Yeah.
And sugar is sugar has to be the most devastating drug of our time. I mean, it has to be.
Yeah.
One of them. But so it's so hard why is it so hard to eat right?
Well, they have an entire industry devoted to making foods so hyper palatable, as tasty as possible, that once you have one, it turns on these your dopamine gets released as soon as you taste it, and it makes you want to have another one. It's essentially a drug-like, right?
Yep.
And those hyper palatable foods are seriously found everywhere. Like you go to a gas station, you go to a movie theater, you go to a sporting event. Those are the foods you're going to get. And sugar's, it's taken its toll on the health of the world.
Yeah.
There's like cultures that have been super healthy eating the foods that they, I guess evolved to eat in their habitat. But once, they came in contact with the civilized people and get sugar, their health starts to deteriorate.
Oh, I mean, it totally stands to reason too. Like most of that stuff's not even natural. Like it's synthetic, man-made. But diet and exercise is two areas where, honestly, I need motivation to stay on the path. Like last night, I watched a documentary on CrossFit again, and guess what? This morning I worked out. You know what I mean?
Which one?
The redeemed, the dominant, the redeemed, and the
redeemed and the dominant. Yeah.
The redeemed and the dominant.
Yeah.
It's like 2-hour documentary, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then, like in the last week, I also watched that one on Froning. Rich, is it Rich Froning?
Rich Froning, yep.
And because I wanted to, so I've been around CrossFit for a few years, but I don't know, I've never paid that much attention to the games and just who the players are, and I've never really followed it. But having watched a few of those, I think I'd like to follow it a little bit more, like almost like a sporting event.
Yeah. You know what? I would say the majority of people who CrossFit don't know anything about the CrossFit Games, or who they might know Matt Frazier or Tia Claire Toomey or Rich Froning, just because those are the most popular CrossFitters. Those are the winners. But the people who place, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, they don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Or like, I would say probably 80% of our members at the gym, I probably couldn't have a conversation with them about what is currently going on in the sport of CrossFit.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's a bunch of documentaries out on Netflix where you can watch and get into the sport of CrossFit.
Totally. I would be in that 80% for sure. Certainly was. But when you see what those guys go through and how hard they train, and then you realize the only thing that's really different between them and me is, all right, well, sure, I don't have Froning's body makeup, body type, maybe. However, he puts in the work. They just put in the work.
Yeah.
And when you think, like, on one level, it's like, it's so easy. Eat right and put in the work. And then you get to probably feel like that, look a little bit like that, and feel good and have energy. And the difference is you just need to eat, like you need to put in the work. Like it's just as easy as like just deciding to do it. But I frustrate myself because I need continual motivation to like stay in that, to stay on that path. And I know, dude. And by the way, exercise for me is the lead domino. We just talked about this the other day with someone else, but it's not diet for me. Exercise is the lead domino. In other words, I can start eating right, and that does not necessarily dictate that I'll start exercising, feeling better, having a better outlook, be less kind of lethargic, less depressive, whatever. But if I exercise, then I will start eating right. Because, dude, I've half a dozen times at least in the last 10 years. Like I've seen this pattern. If I start exercising, I will eat healthier. Then I'll have a better outlook and I'll be just more active. The exercise is the lead domino for me. If I can knock that one over, a couple others just knock over immediately.
Good. No, that's, you're not the only one who feels that way.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing. For me personally, the days that I do not work out, like yesterday, I didn't work out. I eat more, and I crave food that I normally wouldn't if I did work out. So that's just me personally.
But this is the frustrating thing is I know when I stop working out, then I'm going to start eating more crap and I'm going to feel, less active, feel less energy, be more depressive and things like that, have less mental. I know that for a fact. 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. And yet I still do it sometimes.
Have you pinpointed why you fall out of, I guess, motivation?
Yeah, generally it would have something to do with something going on at work that needs attention. It needs like 100% high stress. And I'll just be like, all right, well, I don't have time for this other stuff. I'm just going to go. This needs my full attention right now. That's the most common.
Yeah, well, motivation is pretty fickle, right? It comes and goes.
Yeah.
So don't rely on it.
Right.
You have to really want the outcome that exercise is going to bring.
Yes.
So if you rely on motivation, if you rely on like watching those CrossFit documentaries to want to work out, just know that that's going to come in waves.
Yes.
Right? And it's not going to last forever. So it's just like, got to make yourself do it. And discipline is what you have to rely on.
Yes. A summer of 2017, I was decently fit and was CrossFitting consistently at the gym in Mount Juliet, which is where we lived up until last year when we moved just south of Nashville. But I remember we had I was CrossFitting 3 days a week pretty consistently, and we had a pull-up bar at the office. And we'd just bought it on Amazon. It wasn't even that. I think it was like $30 or $40, and we hung it on the wall. And I was working hard on it's a muscle up, right? Mm-hmm. And I was working hard on muscle ups that summer, and I got it for the first time in my life. And I remember coming home from church one Sunday, and we stopped in because I had to pick something up at the office, and there's the pull-up bar. And I love pull-up bar. Like, that's one of my favorite things. When the workouts include those, I just love that.
Yeah.
Toes to bar, chest to bar, like anything like that. And so I ran in to grab, and the whole family came into the office, and so I whip off my shirt and hit a couple chest to bars.
Yeah.
And my wife was standing there, and she was like, "Oh man, your back looks really ripped. Like, that's super hot." That's motivation to this day. I'm like, dude, if I can get back in it again, get fit, get some of this like belly fat gone, get ripped again, like she only said it one time, I've only ever, but that it makes a difference. Like, you can look better, you can look different and better, in my opinion. You just got to put in the work and decide to do it.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It is hard.
It's very hard. So those are two things that one, I tell people who are new to CrossFit, I tell them, like, when in their intros, I'm like, this is hard stuff. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. This is very hard. Probably some of the hardest stuff you'll ever do physically in your life. I tell them that. And then we have this something called the no sweat intro, where we bring them in and I do this like 15, 20 minute interview of them, asking them a couple questions. One of the questions is, how would you feel? I want you to associate a feeling to your goals once you achieve them. Mm-hmm. Okay. And one of the examples I give is, people will notice that you look better. Mm-hmm. And everyone always is like, hell yeah, that's definitely something that, I want to feel. Yeah. So yeah, looking better.
Yes. Absolutely. And I've seen it with a couple of my friends too, where they were at it consistently and they got buff. Mm-hmm. They look great. What do you do about belly fat? Because so I was at your gym, and then I just quit cold turkey April of 19. So for 2019, I did not work out much at all. I mean, I came some, but it was not. Basically, 2019 was a waste as far as working out. When I was snacking badly every night, stress eating basically. My savior, honestly, I think my savior, kind of the one thing that did help through all of that, is not eating until afternoon. Because, dude, if you'd have seen the way I was taking care of my body and what I was eating for most of 2019, it should have gotten a lot worse, basically. But where I'm going with this,
Why'd your wife let you eat like that?
because the thing is with my personality, and this is stupid, but I have to decide. Like, it's not going to make much of a difference if she helps me, encourages me, tells me, like, I just have to decide for myself.
Yeah.
So, but I don't tend to like put on weight. So I didn't necessarily get heavier. I tend to stay like around 170, 175, sometimes 167. Like for years, I'll just be there.
Even if your aesthetics change. So
Well,
we'll say, if you stay at 170 and you're not working out, you probably are losing some muscle mass and putting on fat mass.
Yes.
If that scale number isn't changing, that's most likely what's happening.
Okay. Well, this is so I didn't get heavy in 2019, but I get soft. Like, I lose muscle mass, I get soft. You can't see, there's no definition, and I get freaking like this. I get soft in my belly.
Right. So that's the main spot men put on weight. Okay.
Just right in the gut.
Right. And women, it tends to be more in the hips and the legs. That's
okay.
Usually where it goes to for the sexes.
Yeah.
Is there a way to specifically hit belly fat? I would say there's not. People might try to sell you on that, but it's not like if you do 1,000 sit-ups, your body's going to be like, okay, we're going to take the fat that's only on his belly and use that for the energy, right? So we're going to skip over the fat that's on the arms, the back, the knee, the legs, whatever.
We're just going to go right for that belly fat.
Right. So,
because he's doing a sit-up. I mean, we'll help him out a little bit.
So in order to have abs, you need to be just low in body fat.
Yeah. Abs are made in the kitchen, right?
For the most part, right. So you can do a ton of ab work and you can develop your abdominal muscles. But again, it's going to be if you're still eating in excess and you haven't figured out what's going to work for you diet-wise, you're still going to have belly fat. So although you might be able to see those abs forming, you're still going to have that fat over your belly. And you just need to be in a calorie deficit and be diligent with your diet, really. Keep working out always, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, fat loss is going to be 80% diet, I would say.
So when about probably 5-6 weeks ago, we kind of finally cleared. I was able to kind of have a lot more time with my schedule, and I came to your gym 5 days a week for 2 weeks. And then we were at the beach for 2 weeks and the virus hit. But during those 2 weeks, I would have worked out 10 times and I put on 5 pounds just in 2 weeks. And I was eating clean, like I was eating keto in those 2 weeks. So if that happens, that's muscle, right? That's turning fat into muscle, and muscle is heavier than fat, or what happened there?
In 2 weeks?
Yeah, in 2 weeks. So I put on 5 pounds in 2 weeks.
So couple different things, but there's no way you're putting on 5 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks. Impossible. Typically when you eat a low carb diet, you tend to shed a lot of water weight. So say for example, over the weekend, 2 days, I ate like crap. And I weighed 205 on Friday, and on Monday I'm weighing 215, which has happened. I know for
Friday
a fact,
to Monday?
Yeah. I mean, I can easily put on 10 pounds and lose 10 pounds in a day.
Really?
Yeah. And it's all water weight.
Oh, wow.
It's all water. There's no way your body's converting that energy into fat, 10 pounds of fat, or into muscle, 10 pounds of muscle. It takes a little bit more time than that. And if people were able to tack on 5 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks, we'd have a ton of people looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger over the course of just 3 or 4 or 5 months, So it's just, I don't know what happened in your case. Maybe you were, maybe the scale was off. We're using the same scale.
Same scale, and I was wearing the same amount of clothes, and it was in the morning before I ate anything. It was odd. I did not expect. I was not unhappy with it because honestly, I don't really care how much I weigh. I just want to look good and feel good.
Yeah. Then that's the important thing, right? The number on the scale is not something that people should rely on for success. But for those listening, for you, when you do weigh yourself, it should be at the same time every single day. So like first thing in the morning, probably right after you go to the bathroom or right before you typically go to the bathroom. Be consistent with that first thing in the morning for more than just 2 days or more than just a week. Track it over the course of many, many days, many weeks, many months, if you can. The more data you have, the better.
Yeah. Yep. What is your diet then? Circling back around to nutrition, how do you eat?
So do a lot of intermittent fasting, and it's just simple for me. I like, I'd change it up quite a bit, but it's
you change your diet up, or you change the intermittent fasting up a lot?
We'll get around to that.
Okay.
So it's just easy for me to skip breakfast, right? Especially if I drink coffee or have caffeine, it kind of quells my diet, my appetite. So I'm not very hungry. Caffeine has that effect on people. It kind of dampens your desire to eat. So I do a lot of intermittent fasting, and I eat a lot of ground beef. But I eat mostly what my wife makes too. And Caitlin follows a macronutrient diet. So she tracks her carbs, proteins, and fats and tries to hit a certain number of those each day. She's also pregnant right now, so she's a little bit lax.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You have another boy?
A third boy.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What is with it in your family?
I don't know. My older brother, my older brother has 2 daughters.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So it can happen.
Yeah, my younger brothers don't have kids yet.
Oh, okay.
But having a third boy.
Congrats.
At the end of August.
Okay.
How many boys do you have?
3 boys and 2 girls.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're done now.
Yeah.
So Lincoln's our oldest, and then Jackson, they're all 2 years apart, and then Ava, and then another boy, Jericho, and then Arya's the girl. So yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I do a lot of intermittent fasting. So I was first introduced to intermittent fasting back in like 2011. And that's also when I started CrossFit. And when I combined those two, my body changed. I got like super, super lean. And since I was very lean and I was working out, very quote unquote jacked.
Nice.
Right? So, and it just worked for me. Where I was working, it was just simple to just work all day and not eat.
Okay.
So, and I've done it intermittent fasting over the years, but now I'm way more consistent with it. So I won't eat until the afternoon usually. And we'll use yesterday as an example. Didn't eat all morning. And then I think around 3 p.m., I threw 21 ounces of ground beef in the skillet and cooked that up, seasoned it, and then mixed in some Flaw total Greek yogurt. And it was like this.
Wait a second. You put yogurt in the
beef. Right. It's
in the pot? Is the pot hot at this point?
No, sorry. The beef is done.
Okay.
And the yogurt is almost like sour cream. Like it's got that tartness to it.
Right.
But it's also very high in protein.
Okay.
Okay, so just a little bit more protein. You mix it in, then you put some Frank's Red Hot sauce in it, and it's like this creamy, beefy deliciousness.
Oh, it sounds good.
It sounds weird.
I've never heard
right?
of mixing ground beef with yogurt, though, ever.
Yeah.
But honestly, it sounds like that's right up my alley. My body likes that type of food
Yeah.
right there,
So
even the Red Hot.
It sounds weird, and people are like, what is this? Sounds disgusting. But yeah, just a lot of beef and mixed in with some, it's almost like sour cream. So if you're a big fan of sour cream, like you put sour cream on your burrito bowl from Chipotle, it's kind of got that flavor to it.
But what yogurt again, though? What yogurt are you using?
I usually eat Flaw, Fage. That's how you pronounce it, Flaw.
Okay. Is it Greek yogurt?
It's Greek yogurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you eat that without, because there's always Greek yogurt around the house. One thing she'll do for the kids sometimes, put a little bit of maple syrup on it, and that sweetens it up. And then they eat it like candy.
My oldest, Atlas, 3 years old, he's a picky eater, but luckily he eats yogurt. He loves yogurt. But yeah, we'll put some honey in it and some blueberries, and lots of times he'll eat it just plain.
Yep.
And Greek yogurt plain, it's got like this tartness, and it's not sweet at all, and it's a taste you have to get used to. Okay. There's a member at our gym who I convinced to try it one time. Apparently, he must be a picky eater, but he thought it was going to taste like ice cream or something, right? Unsweetened yogurt, and he said he had one spoonful and threw the whole container out.
No way.
Screw this. How do they eat it? But yeah.
You got to sweeten it. I mean, you can't eat that.
Oh, I eat it.
You eat that stuff plain?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't do that.
Yeah. Plain is.
I actually don't eat much
go.
yogurt because honestly, I thought, I guess I thought it wasn't the best. Like I thought the dairy aspect was not the best for you. You're not worried about that.
I mean, if you tolerate dairy, then no.
Okay.
Don't worry about it at all. I think there's something with the lactose is the part that ferments, and that's where you get the good bacteria from yogurt. But no, yogurt in general, especially I eat that stuff, the Flaw brand too, and there's many others like it. I'm not like promoting this one specifically, but it's got a ton of protein in it. A ton of protein. Like you get one of those individual 8-ounce cups, and it's got 20 grams of protein. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So
where do you buy it? At Kroger or Publix?
Yeah, everywhere has it. Everywhere has it. Kroger, Publix. One of those 8-ounce containers is like $1, so it's fairly cheap too. But yeah, I would say if you want the healthiest versions of yogurt, I would say try to go with something organic and something that came from 100% grass fed and finished cow. Because you're going to get that's the cleanest variation.
Yeah. I'm going to start eating more yogurt then because it's always around the house, and yogurt's never bothered my stomach. Cheeses never bother my stomach. Eggs, fine. Milk. I don't drink milk. What's odd though is if I don't know if you've ever had milk like straight from a farm where you're like, it's not been processed.
Raw milk?
Yeah, raw milk.
I've actually never had it.
Never had it. So
a few years ago, I was calling around trying to find it in Tennessee.
Oh yeah?
But I never ended up getting it.
Okay. Well,
your wife is Amish.
My wife has a connection. Yeah. She actually went up after we moved to Nashville, she established a connection somewhere in Kentucky. She had to drive about 45 minutes. But we don't get raw milk anymore. It's just a hassle. It's just a pain. So we don't have milk around the house a ton, but raw milk is fine. But milk from the store, I'll feel sick on it.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't really ever drink milk or eat cereal or anything like that. So.
I truly wonder why that is. Because, at the store, they'll pasteurize it. So they'll like heat it up to a certain temperature to kill potentially harmful bacteria. Raw milk, that's, I think, the only thing that isn't done to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. When I was about 12 years old, I worked on a farm in the summer. Have you ever drank milk straight from the cow's teat?
Well, since I've never had raw milk, I've never done that either.
You haven't. Okay. I did that one time. It's super warm. It's pretty gross. I don't recommend it unless you're a cat.
a bet from a friend or like a challenge?
No, the guy was just like, here, try this.
And
I'm 12 years old. I'm like, oh, this is, I mean.
You get under the cow and
you kind of stoop
teat?
down. No, you squirt it into your mouth. You squirt it into your mouth. But that's the only time I've ever done it. But it's really warm. I didn't see that coming.
There's a lot of jokes we could make that I'm going to refrain.
There's a ton. Yeah. Back to what you eat though.
Yeah. So lots. I'll have veggies, but I don't like make a point to eat them every single day.
Okay.
I'll have the milk that I do drink. We drink something called Fairlife milk, which is it's like really processed. Or filtered milk. I'll refrain from saying processed because I don't know if it truly is.
That's a bad word.
Yeah, right. So it's highly filtered milk, and it pretty much eliminates all the lactose. So Like, for example, my wife is, she's lactose intolerant, but she can tolerate certain things. Like, she can have cheese and she can have sour cream and but if she were to have a glass of milk, it would,
See, that's how I am.
make her throat tighten up and I think hurt her stomach or something like that. But this brand Fairlife, it's filtered down where it eliminates the lactose. It eliminates half the sugar that is in normal milk and it increases the protein. So this is the milk I feed my kids.
Where do you get this?
It's pretty ubiquitous now. You can find it pretty much anywhere.
Kroger,
Walmart,
Publix?
Kroger. Okay. Yeah, and it's they have a variation of the whole milk that has extra DHA. So it's that omega-3 fats that is super essential for brain development, brain health, especially for younger children whose brains and bodies are still developing. That DHA is important. So that's the stuff I usually feed my kids. So it's got more protein, less sugar, and those essential fats, DHA, omega-3s. I'll have that a lot. I'll have protein shakes. I'll have fish, oysters. I've been trying to eat a lot of oysters.
How do you eat the oysters?
I think, didn't we talk about this at the gym the other day? Maybe it was with somebody else, but it was
a question of the day.
Canned oysters, which makes people
we did talk about this, yeah.
Like want to gag,
disgusting,
right? So they're smoked oysters. And
do they shit on you when you eat them? That's the thing with.
I don't know. I mean, if you squish them, like some stuff comes out.
Yeah, that's poop.
Try not to think of it as poop.
I think it is though.
It's something. It's something. But man, they're just. I try to eat foods that are a lot of eggs that are very high in micronutrients. That's like, and if something doesn't taste good, but I know it's really good for me, I'll eat it. Right? I try to look at food not so much for the taste of it, like, oh, I'm not going to eat that because it's not very tasty. I try to look at it like, oh, is it going to be beneficial for me?
Right.
Like,
is that good fuel for your body?
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I try to look and make my food choices.
Sardines
are great.
So I do not mind the taste of sardines. There was actually a season where my breakfast was sardines and coffee with, what was it called? Bulletproof coffee that was real popular for a stretch there.
You put in
grass-fed butter,
MCT oil.
Yeah, is that it? And then you blend it.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty tasty, and I think I had learned about that from Tim Ferriss.
Right.
Do you know anything about Tim Ferriss? Have you ever heard his stuff? Okay. Well, anyhow, the thing, though, here's why I quit that, was because someone mentioned one time that I sort of smelled like sardines, and that was it for me. I haven't touched them since.
Yeah, sardines are a smelly fish, without a doubt, but they are packed full of nutrients. Would you get the ones where like the spine is still in and there's slightly crunchy bones in there, but edible? Yeah. So those are great. When you eat bones, you're getting a good source of calcium and other little micronutrients that you wouldn't normally get. You got to make sure, though, that they are either in water, and that's preferred. Fish, whenever fish is canned, if it's in water, it's always preferred. Because even if it's in olive oil is second down. Okay, that's your second best choice in olive oil. But a lot of sardines, especially, are soaked in like cottonseed oil and soybean oil. And the main beneficial thing about fish is they're high in omega-3s.
Okay.
And if they're soaked in cottonseed oil or soybean oil, then you're getting a ton of omega-6s. And you want this balance. Okay. So many people are eating way more omega-6s because they're constantly consuming these crappy vegetable oils. And that's a whole nother topic.
Well, vegetable oils, everyone just needs to throw that crap away, right?
Right.
I mean, that's just not, you shouldn't eat that stuff.
It's just, back to that word processed. It is the most processed oils you can possibly find.
The most common replacement is, what is it? I don't cook a lot. It's not coconut oil, is it? Olive oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you try to stick to like certain nut oils, like coconut oil, macadamia nut oil, But olive oil and coconut oil are the best in terms of replacements. Avocado oil is pretty good. Like you can, if it's certain oils, when it's heated up past a certain degree, they become oxidized. And when they're oxidized, they are not good for you. So certain oils are better to cook with. Avocado oil has a high smoke point, so it can handle a lot of heat. So,
I see.
Anyway, yeah, vegetable oils are terrible for you. And there's a new theory that I read an article about lately that vegetable oils, soybean oil specifically, is why our country is so sick. It's definitely playing a role.
Yeah.
That and sugar has been like consumed far, far, far more in the past 30, 40 years than other healthier oils, and it's definitely played a role in why so many people are getting diabetes, obesity, heart disease, hypertension, all that stuff.
You say soybean oil?
Soybean oil.
Soybean oil. And corn has to make that list too, right?
There's corn oil. Yeah, corn oil. The two, you'll find wheat. Wheat is in so many things. Soy is in so many things. Like, whenever I stumble upon a new product, say it's like a new cracker or something, I'm trying to maybe feed my kids or eat myself, I'll always turn the box around and read the ingredients. Okay? The things that I try to avoid are wheat, soy. Those are the main two.
Right.
Wheat and soy.
Yeah. And are you looking out for sugar too, or that's just kind of a more obvious one?
Yeah. I mean, you'll that, yeah. A lot of people try to avoid like high fructose corn syrup. But to be honest, high fructose corn syrup and sugar are pretty much the same thing.
Right.
Like one sucrose, which is table sugar, is like 50-50 glucose and sucrose. And then you have high fructose corn syrup fructose and glucose. Glucose, I think, is table sugar. And then you have high fructose corn syrup, which is like 55% fructose. And then the rest is glucose, I think. I don't know. I might be confusing this. But sugar and high fructose corn syrup are pretty much the same. Like 5% different. So like if you see a package that says no high fructose corn syrup, but it has regular sugar, it's pretty much the same
semantics.
thing.
Yeah, I see. So does your diet, do you follow like any of the main diet categories or any of the main diets? Like
no. So what I recommend for anybody, even if you're vegan or have some other weird diet, is real whole foods. Right? So, vegetables, fruits, meats. If you go to a grocery store and you stay on the perimeter of the store, okay, that's where you're going to find your eggs. That's where you're going to find your meat. That's where you're going to find your veggies, your fruits, your milk, that type of stuff, your dairies. That's what I recommend for everybody. Okay. Even if you shun a complete food group like meat, okay, or veggies, that's how I recommend everyone should eat.
Real whole foods.
Right. So if you were out in nature and you were trying to live off the land, you wouldn't have a choice but to live off of animals and plants.
Yep. Do you eat bread?
I do eat bread.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily recommend it.
Yeah.
I try to eat a specific bread. I think it's sprouted wheat. And that's supposed to have, I don't know, so it doesn't bother me.
Right.
That's one reason why I eat it. Two,
Okay.
I mean, bread is great.
Bread is delicious.
Bread is great. And it's, I don't know. I try to select quote unquote healthier bread.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not your Wonder Bread. It's actually got some vitamins and minerals in it. Stuff like that.
Is what you're describing, I don't know much about paleo, but what I do know about paleo, it sounds somewhat similar to what you're describing, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of thing with paleo is real food, basically?
Right.
I don't know a ton about it.
Yeah. So it's plants and animals. That's what it boils down to.
Yep.
Plants and animals. So
how about then CrossFit? You said you got into CrossFit in 2011?
Yeah, I would say I started kind of doing it on my own without any instruction or without knowing anything about what I was doing in like 2010. And I've known about it since like 2007, 2008 through Tim Ferriss. I just, I was a fan of him, and he wrote something about it. I kind of did research, and anyway, but I didn't start CrossFit officially until 2011.
Okay.
When I was in Atlanta.
But Ferriss doesn't even do CrossFit, does he? Did he just mention it at some point?
I think he probably played around with it. Okay. And a lot of his training methodology probably comes from the CrossFit methodology.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think
like the high intensity stuff, kettlebell swings.
Yep.
That I think you could credit CrossFit for making kettlebell swings popular. And he's a huge proponent of kettlebell swings. I don't know if you have his book, the 4-Hour Body. I think that was released.
Don't have that book.
2010 or 2011.
I have the Tools of Titans, the 4-Hour Work Week.
Yeah.
Maybe another one. I did not get the 4-Hour Body.
Yeah. So I think
recommend it?
That was his second book.
He put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the 4-Hour Body. No, I'm thinking he did that too. But the 4-Hour Chef apparently almost killed him.
Really?
Yeah, like the timetable to write the 4-Hour Chef, everything they had to do apparently was just crazy, and he just I've heard him talk about it on his podcast a couple times. Like he learned a lot. Like he almost burnt out over that book. And the 4-Hour Body, he did some ridiculous. I saw a video of him pulling some muscle out of his leg. I almost threw up, man. But you've
never read it?
I've never read the 4-Hour Body. No.
Yeah, so I think his first book came out in like 2007, and then 4-Hour Body I think was 2011. I don't think there was a book in between those two. But on his blog, he would always post stuff about health and fitness and self-experimentation and stuff like that. And I would say, you asked if it's worth it, maybe. Probably a lot of that stuff has been, is dated now, just because there's newer, more credible information out regarding it. But I enjoyed it. I still have a copy, and I think I maybe reference it or try to look something up maybe once a year about it. But it's kind of broken down into like individual chapters. One's regarding muscle gain, the others regarding how to increase your testosterone, the other one's regarding sex, whatever it may be. So
you don't have to read the book cover to cover.
Right.
Were you in Wisconsin in 2010, 2011? Is that where you got into CrossFit up there?
No, it was actually, kind of. That's when I began doing it on my own. Doing a workout I programmed on Monday for our gym. I would run for a couple minutes, maybe 4.25 miles or so, and then get off and do a bunch of air squats. And I wish I had video of myself doing it because my squatting, although I have a great squat now, I must, pat myself on the back for doing, for my squat now. Back then it was probably a half squat and, my knees were probably buckling in, but I would do stuff like that back in the day, push-ups, dips, but nothing guided or with intention. I would just, get a good workout because when I first started working out in college, I would just run. I ran all the time, 2, 3, 4, 5 miles a couple times a week. And I thought I was fit. And whereas now it's there's a little bit more knowledge in my training. So it's way different.
Do you enjoy running?
I used to.
Okay.
And I'm not going to lie, a 20-minute, 30-minute jog with my boys, if I'm pushing my son Everett in a stroller, it's relaxing.
Okay. But try that. I should try that. I just never enjoyed running. There was never a season in my life where I even did what you said, go jog for 20, 30 minutes. Never. Well, actually, there was a short time. I just never liked running. That's one of the things I like about CrossFit is the variety.
Yeah.
And there's not just a ton of running.
unless you're following my programming right now, since we're in quarantine and I'm making you guys run quite a bit. I don't know if you saw the workout today, but it's more running, and I programmed running on Monday.
Actually, I did see that.
But I did give you guys the opportunity to substitute the run for a machine if you grab one.
Yes. This morning's workout, I did 10 calories on the skier, 10 thrusters at 65 pounds, and 10, it's just called a kettlebell swing, right? You go on between your hips, popping it up overhead.
Yeah.
What's a Russian kettlebell swing?
So if I just write kettlebell swings, you should assume, for me, if you're looking at my writing, my programming, if it just says kettlebell swings, you're going all the way overhead.
Right. Okay.
Russian is just chest height.
Oh, okay.
Until your arms are parallel with the floor.
Gotcha. So then it was a kettlebell swing, and I did AMRAP in 12 minutes. It was kind of fun.
Good.
Yeah, it was great. Just right over here.
Good. I'm glad.
So thanks for loaning that equipment out.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're using it.
You got into CrossFit in 2011. Then at what point did you wind up in Nashville? And at what point did you decide you're going to make a living out of this?
Yeah. So when I moved to Atlanta, Caitlin, who was my girlfriend back then, bought me this intro sessions to CrossFit North Atlanta.
Did you meet her in Atlanta?
No, we were dating in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And then she moved down there for a job. I followed with her.
Oh, okay.
Followed her down. And so I did those intro classes with CrossFit North Atlanta, and I was really, really poor back then, and I couldn't afford a gym membership. So that got postponed, and then so that was in like the summer of 2010, and then in 2011, like March or February of 2011, I saved up enough money to join a gym, CrossFit Atlanta. I joined that gym because I saw that they had a bunch of level 2 trainers, and it was really close to my house to where I was living. And I started officially in February or March of 2011.
What do you mean level 2 trainers? I don't know what that means.
So you have a tier of CrossFit, I guess, certifications, if you will. Okay. And fortunately for you, Kent, you're at the only gym in Tennessee with multiple CrossFit level 3 trainers. Okay. So level 1 is like the basics, right? You go to a seminar ran by CrossFit headquarters, and they teach you all about CrossFit, right? So that's level 1. And once you get your level 1, you can start training people. And then there's higher tiers. So you can get your CrossFit level 2, which is another seminar with a little bit deeper. They go a little bit deeper into the methodology and how to coach people. And then you have level 3, which is like a bunch of studying, a bunch of experience. Like you need at least, I think, 1,000 or 1,500 hours of coaching hours. You need to have your level 2 already. And you need to know quite a bit about CrossFit because you go to a testing center and then you take I think a 3-hour test with videos and multiple choice and a whole bunch of, I think, written word questions. And once you pass that, you are designated as a level 3 CrossFit trainer.
Do you have to showcase the movements yourself, or you just need to know the science?
Right. Yeah, you just need to know.
Okay.
So I could be a really crappy CrossFit trainer. Okay. Like
you could be a crappy athlete yourself.
I could not even be able to do a pull-up.
Okay.
Okay. Or push-up or squat. But as long as I'm able to identify problems with the squat, with your squat, or with anyone's squat, and teach it, then I can get these certifications.
How many levels are there?
There is open to the public now. There's 3, but there's about to be a 4th one. The 4th one requires you to sit, from what I know. They haven't released all the details yet. Requires you to sit in front of a panel of probably CrossFit level 4, CrossFit headquarters staff, and teach a class. And you have to do it to their standards.
Like a
and
1 hour teach the whole class?
Not exactly sure.
Oh,
It
interesting.
could be multiple classes. It could be one class, but yeah, they haven't released that to the public yet. But as soon as they do, I'm going to be striving to get it
Really?
for sure. Yeah.
Who are the level 3 coaches at your gym?
We have myself, my wife, Caitlin, who she doesn't coach anymore, but
She coached, I think she coached at least one class, maybe 2 last year. Does that sound right?
she may have.
Maybe she was
have-
subbing in or something.
Yeah.
But she's not coaching anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's got her whole other job that she works
Okay.
on. And Sarah Richmond. I don't know. So Sarah
I feel like Sarah's
usually
coached me.
Yeah, so she comes at 6 a.m. mostly, and
Okay.
the later afternoon classes, and
I see.
you pretty much come to only 11:30. So
Yeah.
don't know if you've ever met her or seen her before. I don't know.
I don't think that I have.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think I have.
we at our gym we take further education very seriously, and we require our coaches to get at least one either accredited, we'll say one seminar. They have to do one seminar or take one class or do one thing per year in order to advance their knowledge of CrossFit. And we, over the years, have accumulated 3 CrossFit level coaches, level 3 coaches, which, to my knowledge, currently to this day, there's not a single one of those single CrossFit gym in Tennessee that has 3 level 3 coaches.
Really?
So
In the state?
correct.
Huh, that's kind of
Right.
cool.
So level 1 is everywhere. Which is not very impressive. Level 2, that's good. We have 7 level 2 coaches at our gym. Okay, so Ross is level 2, Bob is level 2, Braden is level 2, Sarah's level 2, I'm level 2, Caitlin's level 2. Who else? Micah is going to be working on it this year. I don't know if you know Micah.
I don't think that I do.
You probably do, but he's
if
the
I saw
newest
his
coach.
face, I might.
Joanna has her level 2. Larry has his level 2. So that's like a requirement to basically coach at our gym, the
I
level
see.
2.
Yeah.
But everyone will eventually strive to get their level 3. It's just a process. Like there's a lot of studying you have to do, and you just have to dedicate a lot of time in order to get this. But was there a question that you asked me?
Yeah, we were talking about what got you into CrossFit as a career, like as a livelihood.
Yeah, so
You're talking about in 2011 Atlanta.
yeah. So I remember one day, Caitlin and I were driving around. This is after I did my intro classes, and I was like doing CrossFit on my own, but not officially at a gym. Like after I did the intro class, I couldn't afford a gym, so I was just doing it on my own. Bought a kettlebell, and was just doing what I could. But I remember driving one day in Atlanta, and we drove past a CrossFit gym, and I told Caitlin, I'm like, you know what? This is like before I was even a member at a CrossFit gym or knew anything about it. I was like, I want to open up a CrossFit gym. And she was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So, we saved up money, eventually joined a gym, and then I signed up for my CrossFit Level 1 cert in May of 2011. The day they killed Osama bin Laden, I remember. It was a memorable day.
May of 2011?
Yeah. And then Caitlin got offered to move. So in Atlanta at the time, there was a ton of CrossFit gyms already. And this was, almost 10 years ago. Caitlin got a job offer in Nashville, and we had visited Nashville a couple times. And I was like, I looked at, the market for CrossFit gyms in Nashville, and it was pretty open. Like there weren't that many gyms. And so Caitlin took the job, and I moved up here, and we moved up here, and this is where I wanted to open up a gym.
You moved in 2011 or 2012?
So we moved in 2011, June of 2011. So we've been here almost 9 years.
Wow.
And then a year after we moved here, we opened up.
Did you open up where you are right now?
No. So
Okay.
we had some problems finding a spot when we were first brand new. Like we moved in and we're signed a lease and we're moving in and demoing this. It was a former strip club. So it was on Lafayette. It was like right at where the roundabout is on Lafayette and 8th. So it was like a car dealership turned strip club.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were like tearing out the strip stages and the booths and all this stuff. And like we were like 2 days away from opening. I remember one day I was dropping like a 135 or a 95 pound bar from overhead, and the owner like felt the ground shake, and there was a basement underneath, and it was like a suspended flooring. And he's like, hold on. This is, after we told him, after we signed the lease, that what we were planning on doing there. He's like, hold on, you plan on dropping those weights? Like, yeah, we talked about this. And that fell through. So we were postponed. Yeah, so that was like July of 20.
Oh, you put all this work into that location.
Yeah, spent thousands of dollars, spent days and days
so
demoing.
Disheartening.
Yeah, dude, it was especially because this was the start of my new life, right?
Oh, dude, I can't.
And
dude,
we had
a lot of people wouldn't make it past that point. They'd be like, well, screw that.
Right. And it was just devastating, dude. I was so pissed at this guy. But that fell through.
What's so tough about that is wasting time. I think I'm just selfish probably, or maybe prideful, but like that is one of my most frustrating things is when I feel like my time just got deliberately, utterly wasted.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're making this thing ready, you're getting it all, you're putting in the sweat equity, and then, oh no, I can't after all. That's just, for me, like that's one of the most disheartening things possible.
Oh yeah. Trust me. And I was like 26 at the time, and man, it wasn't until like 2 months later that we found another spot. And when you're 26 and you're opening a gym, a business of any kind, like these older guys, you're signing a lease, they're kind of like, okay, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Right. I'm not going to take anything he says or does seriously. Like he's young, he's a dumb, stupid kid. And that's kind of how he treated us. And we spent, we only had, I think, $10,000 to open, something like that. And we spent like $2,000 on the demo and all that stuff. But a few months later, we found another spot. It was like 2,500 square feet. So if you look at our lobby now, it was like the size of our lobby. If you took out, it was more open than that.
Okay.
If you took out like all the rooms, all the bathrooms, you opened it up. It's about 2,500 square feet.
Actually, that's the exact size of this office. If this office was combined with that one over there, that's exactly 2,500 square foot.
So it was plenty to start. The ceilings were pretty low. I think we had like 11-foot ceilings, and they were kind of like this right here. They had those beams running across, but they weren't as high. So we would do wall balls in between those beams.
That's great.
Right? To hit the target.
And where was this?
This was on 7th and Fog. So Fog Street is, I'm trying to think of that brewery that's close by it. Tennessee Brew Works.
Okay.
Or no, Yazoo is like a block.
Yep.
2 blocks.
Yep. So still downtown.
East of Yazoo, yeah.
What are you calling it at this point, by the way?
It was CrossFit Forte.
Oh, really? All along?
Yeah.
And was your vision to keep it like in Nashville proper?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of wanted it downtown, or close to downtown. One, because Caitlin and I lived pretty much downtown.
Oh, okay.
When we moved here, we bought a condo right off of, 4th Avenue.
Okay.
2nd Avenue. It was 2nd Avenue.
Okay.
Like half a mile south of downtown on 2nd Avenue. So it was an awesome location. This is back when real estate was cheap.
Right. It's hard to believe.
Right. So we opened in September of 2012, and we were in that location and this is at the boom of CrossFit. This is at the peak. This is where gyms were open up, like, all over the United States. And we quickly outgrew that spot, and we moved to our current spot back in September of 2013. So we've been there for almost 7 years.
Do you own that or are you leasing it?
We lease it.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I owned it. Every year I ask the landlord, like, hey, can I buy it?
Yeah. Because it's a great location. I love that location.
It is.
And the building is really nice. It's spacious. It feels good. It's the whole setup is just right. I really like it there.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So 2013, you said 2013 there at that location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, I should post pictures of what it looked like when we first opened up. Even at our first location, like, dude, I had there weren't any rowers. There was like a pull-up rig that was like 6 feet. And we had 5 barbells and a couple dumbbell. I don't think we even had dumbbells. A couple kettlebells, a couple medicine balls, just like the bare essentials.
But you don't need a ton. You know what I mean? Like if you just want to get started, dude, I can have a legit, and I'm sure I don't even know what all I can do, but I feel like I can have a legit workout with that skier, that kettlebell, and that barbell.
For sure. But back then we didn't have any machines.
Yeah.
Seriously, the bare, and we just, as the years went by, got more members, more money. I put in every dime that I made back into the gym just to make it nicer, make it more appealing, give us more equipment so I have more options, so people, prefer. Right now, it's really tough to keep people, I think, motivated to do body weight workouts every day. Okay, so when you have more equipment, more options, it just makes it that much more appealing.
Yes, totally.
So, when we first opened, it wasn't painted, and it was just, it was crazy times. But I was super driven to kind of see out my vision. So
when we moved to this office here, because my office, people wouldn't know this, but my office where we're sitting right now is, I don't know, a mile from your gym, half a mile. It's not far, just a couple blocks really. But when I knew a couple years ago that this was going to be my office here, I was researching CrossFit gyms close to here, and there's a couple in the area, but I like the vibe on your website the best, and just what I could read about, your staff and everything. It just resonated with me. And the first time I walked in, I was like, all right, this is it. I just like the feel of the place. I like the vibe. I really like your coaching. I like your other coaches too, but you're my favorite. I think you do a really good job.
Thanks.
What are the economics like of a CrossFit gym? Can you make money after a couple years and you get enough of members? Does it depend on your lease rate? Or do gyms go out? I don't know. Do gyms go out because they're are not financially sustainable, or what are the economics of the gym?
All that stuff matters. What you're paying for your lease, or if you own the building, how much you want to, especially when you first start out. A lot of gyms, when they first start out, they'll start off like we did. So they'll grow, or they'll gather and get equipment as they grow membership wise. A lot of gyms will take a different route. They'll invest tens and maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars right off the bat, and basically hope that people join in order to pay that off. I'm very glad we did it our way. We bought things as we got members, but
so you would do that again? You would just grow it grassroots, pay your way as you go?
If I were to do it again, yeah, most likely. I might invest a little bit more, because to be honest, when somebody walks into a gym and it's they don't have any equipment, it's not appealing. Right? When that other gym down the street has all the equipment.
Yeah, so, but that's the difference between 2020 and 2013 probably too, right? Because you probably had less competition back then and so forth.
Yeah. No, that was a factor. Yeah, you can make money. You just have to put out a quality product, and you have to be somewhat decent with people. It's more about, it's not like a coaching job, it's a relationship job. So if you can't be personable. And if you can't get somebody to like you, whether or not you're the best coach in the world, it's going to be hard to gather and retain those members. So I'm not saying I'm the most likable person or the nicest person, because I'm definitely not. But I'm able to, I guess, relate to people on some scale, and I try to do my best to be as knowledgeable as I can in terms of teaching and the methodology behind CrossFit. That helps. It helps nowadays to have a lot of different types of equipment to make the workouts more appealing. That helps. Having a nice facility helps. I've had people say they love the high ceilings in my gym because their former gym, it was like a dungeon. Or like
that is one of the things I like about your gym, although I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, so little
but
things like that.
It feels good. It feels good in there.
Yeah. No, yeah, I try to make it open and nice and clean. A lot of my members have dropped into other gyms, and the first thing they do when they come back, they're like, dude, thanks for keeping the gym clean. Because I went to this other gym and I did a burpee and I had 20 dog hairs on my hand, and there was just crap all over the floor.
Nasty.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not appealing at all.
So a ton of that plays a role. And I was going to say something, but it slipped my mind.
When you is there kind of knowns in CrossFit, like you're not making money until you have 100 members or 200 or 50 members? Is there things like that, or
there's not?
Okay,
there's
because
not.
There's so many variables, what your operating expenses are and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So the main triggers for you is how much you're going to charge for membership and how many members you have.
Yeah,
those are the two main things. Now, as it relates to how much you charge for membership, is that
the market sets the price?
The market sets the price. Yeah. That's what I thought. I mean, you might be able to get a little more, or a little less, depending on what you offer or whatever. But for the most part, you just go with what the market is bearing. Pretty much. And then I guess if you have, your fixed expenses, like your rent there, then at some point it's just like the more the merrier for members, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It is. But in terms of like getting members, it's what we've relied on in the past is word of mouth generally. Having good reviews has been helpful. People, they'll Google CrossFit gyms, and we have, a ton of good reviews on Facebook, on Google, on Yelp.
That was another thing that I checked out was the reviews. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know how many of our current or former members relied on reviews, but it's helpful.
Do you do any paid advertising at this point?
We've not. We've done, I think, Google AdWords a couple times, but nothing consistent. After this coronavirus, though, we're probably going to have to, because it's been the worst month we've had since our opening.
Ugh. By the way, do you have a Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
I'm not on Facebook much, but if something to consider is, we found with Shed's Facebook, advertising on Facebook so much more effective than Google AdWords.
Yeah.
Just in the last couple of years. We used to spend a lot of money on Google AdWords, and we've pretty much stopped that, and we're just putting the money into Facebook. So I wonder for you if you might find good success with advertising on Facebook, because they allow you to get super specific with who's seeing your ad.
Yeah, there's so many different marketing ploys that talk about Facebook ads, and I haven't looked into them, but I will be.
That type of thing drives me nuts. I have to learn that stuff myself. I don't enjoy it at all.
I know.
Is your gym going to be okay?
If we continue to have months like we just did, probably not. I mean, that's only sustainable for so long, right? So, but as of right now, yeah, we're okay. But what we rely on is our members being okay. For example, if you just lost your job, that $179 membership at the gym that you're spending is probably going to be one of the first things that you're going to have to put on hold, right? We hope it's not. We hope that people enjoy and prioritize their health and fitness, and so they'll keep their membership. But let's be honest, like it's a luxury too, you know. So we had a bunch of people lose their jobs this past month, past week, past couple days, and they're having to cancel their membership.
So you're getting a ton of cancellations right now?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And your is all CrossFit like month to month? Like you don't sign up people for like 6 months or lock them in for like a year or anything like that? Like are all your members month to month?
When they first join, we require a 3-month minimum.
Okay.
So our theory behind that is, one, you have to give something at least 3 months in order to see if it's effective.
Yeah.
2, we want to kind of lock in some type of security, you know, financial wise. And then after that 3 months, then it's month to month.
Okay.
But we do have an option where people pay a year in advance, and they'll save just a little bit of money.
Okay.
You know, I think they'll get I think it equates to like a month and a half free membership if they pay up front for a year. But most people are month to month. Yeah, the vast majority of them.
Oh man, I hope you're okay.
Yeah. So seriously, I mean, let's be honest, we're closed right now, and I think all CrossFit gyms in the country are forced to close right now, and it's just like we're you know, I'm still trying to provide value by, you know, keeping the community engaged and posting workouts of the day on the website. And you know, yesterday we introduced a Zoom class. I didn't have it today because it's running and jumping and double on everything outside, so it'd probably be kind of a headache for people to set up their cameras. But yeah, the gym is closed. Like how interesting can I keep it for people for, I don't know how long this is going to last. So one thing I did is rent out equipment to people who are keeping their membership, right? So we're kind of exchanging equipment for a membership fee. And for those people with equipment, I am currently writing workouts for. Okay. So for example, if like you're looking at your stuff and you're like, man, I don't know what to do today, you send me a message or email me and I'll write you like 20 workouts. And this
cool.
is what
based on what I have here?
Right.
So okay.
You tell me, you tell me what equipment you have and I'll write. So I've written this, I'd estimate about 25 people have emailed me for workouts so far.
Oh, okay.
And I've probably written over 400 workouts.
No
in the
way.
past like week. Yeah.
Holy cow.
So like each person that emails me, again, they'll list off their equipment and I'll just, you know, start brainstorming and writing out workouts for them to do and
oh wow.
You know, and send it over their way. And
yeah. And
then, you know, if they don't want to do the workouts that I've listed, shame on them. Right. But except I put quite a bit of time writing those workouts.
I bet.
But they can always hit up the body weight workout of the day that I post on the website.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And that one doesn't require any equipment.
Have you looked into the stimulus and what that would offer for you? For your small business?
Oh,
that
yeah. The
they
CARE
just
Act.
Passed. Yeah.
The SBA. Yeah. SBA
well, it's just business.
Loan.
But my understanding is businesses can get a loan up to 250% of 1 month's expenses: rent, payroll, utilities, internet, whatever.
First come, first serve. I think there's a million openings for this current one, right? So first come, first serve. We did sign up for that. We don't know if we're going to be getting it because we may have been 1,000,001. So we're cut off.
I didn't realize it was first come, first serve.
Yeah, it's first come, first serve. I think there's a second one coming out in a couple weeks. But I also learned that there's 30 million small businesses in the United States. So a million is 1/30th
Golly.
of.
I didn't hear anything about just the 1 million or first come, first serve.
Yeah. I can send you some stuff or invite you. One of our members, Tim Grawl, he created a. I've been on one podcast before, and he was the other person who
Tim Grawl.
Tim Grawl. He's actually kind of famous.
Grahl.
Yeah, he's an author, and he's written several books. Most recently, he's written what's it called? It'll come back to me. But he started a Facebook group dedicated to this SBA and CARE Act loan and information regarding it, just because.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if you've dealt with anything tax-wise or with the government. It's confusing.
It's awful. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
So he's trying to make sense of it, and he's invited a bunch of other small business owners that he knows to the group, and we're all sharing information,
cool.
ideas.
I wonder if I could get invited into there.
Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, I don't ever really go on it, but I have a Facebook account. But I've been trying to have someone. Oh shoot, I need to have Tim on here, because I've been wanting to get someone on here to really dig into that act from a small business standpoint, because it seemed too good to be true at first. Free money. It's like for 250% of 1 month. Well, that can really help.
I know.
And that's about all I know about it. I don't know more about it.
It would be great.
So you've signed up for that. But even if you get accepted on that, you're not getting money for some time, right?
Not sure. I've heard it could be 24 hours. I've heard it could be a couple weeks.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I was picturing more like a couple of months. Well,
who knows?
A couple of
it's
months,
the government,
but then,
And this is so new. It's so strange, and who knows if the government will be competent enough to make it work the way they want it to work.
Right. I can't imagine doing something like this at such scale.
Oh, I know.
How do you make sure that people don't get money that shouldn't, and the people that should do? That just seems like that sounds
right?
like an impossible situation.
We're talking like $10,000 per person, per business owner, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it might be more. I guess it's a percentage of your salary.
Right.
But we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for millions of people.
Yep. Yeah, and they got to vet these people. They got to make sure that it's on the, everything's on the up and up. That sounds difficult.
Yeah.
Well, you're allowing the people that are continuing to pay membership to have 3 pieces of equipment, and you're providing value still online.
Trying to.
So, but yeah, I can see the argument if someone loses their job. But I would say, and this is why I just stayed subscribed when I wasn't able to come that much, was because I could still come anytime I wanted to. And there was still I don't know, I felt like there was still some value there. If I stop paying, then it's harder to resubscribe. That's that one thing that I didn't want to have as a barrier. Yeah. I wanted as few barriers as possible. Mm-hmm. So I get if someone loses their job, but on the flip side, it's like, man, it's $179 a month or whatever it is, $200 a month. It's got to be some of the best money you can spend.
And I've heard that plenty of times before. My goal as the gym owner is to get everyone to feel like they would pay way more for the membership than they are, right? I've had people tell me in the past couple of weeks that they're willing to pay months and months in advance for us to, if we need it, right? They're offering to help us out financially. Multiple members have asked that. And people, they come so often and hang out at the gym so much that we kind of turn into family.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we've had members who have been with us since the start, and it's
wow,
it's crazy. Cool. It's crazy watching them improve, watching them grow, and watching what life unfolds before us. So yeah, that's the goal. Like we want to be a tight knit community.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I wish I could get you to stay after class a little bit longer, but you're always like shower and bounce.
I come to the gym and at 1 hour I shower and I go. How long do people hang out?
Oh man, dude, we'll have people get there at 11. So class starts at 11:30, right?
Yep.
We'll use the lunch class for example. Get there at 11 and they'll stay until 1:30, 2.
No
oftentimes.
way.
Yeah. Even longer some days. Yeah. Just shooting the shit with each other, hanging out, you know.
Are they self-employed or are they just, how do they have it?
Some of them are. Some of them work at offices.
Okay.
Yeah, but those who work at offices must have some lenient, you know,
They
rules
must,
regarding
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. Sometimes I have to like kick people out just because they don't leave. Yeah. So many people told me that's the best hour of their day. And
that's great.
That's what I want it to be for everybody.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I going to achieve that for everybody? Absolutely not. But that's my goal.
Yeah.
Right. I want them to spend as much time at the gym as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. When I sell memberships, it's a premium price, right? You're not going to Planet Fitness and spending, I don't know, what is it, $20 a month or whatever it is. Their business model is like sell as many memberships as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they hope that people don't come, right? If every single member came to say a Monday, it'd be a zoo in there, right? But they know people are going to just buy a membership and most likely not come, but still pay.
Yep.
I tell people, like, especially if they're new, I want you to come as much as you can just because you're going to see results really quickly. It's going to get easier for you in terms of learning the movements, and you're going to just develop good habits. Okay?
Yes.
It's going to be hard to do that if you come once a week, twice a week.
Yes.
And if you show up like 5 times a week, 1 week, and then you take a week off, it's just that inconsistency people have is going to be, it's harder for me to coach them just because we'll use the clean and jerk, for example. If they did the clean and jerk 1 week and then they stop coming consistently and don't see it again for a couple weeks or maybe a month or 2, then it's like doing it all over
Starting all over again.
Right. So these movements a lot of movements that we do are pretty complex and you just need practice and consistency with it. So
have you encountered a perception out there where like CrossFitters, like they're hardcore, they're elitist, they're super into it, like they're too into it, like it's too much of a lifestyle. It's like that's a whole different. Do you encounter that or no?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that group, right?
Okay, because I haven't experienced that. Like I have experienced guys getting after it. They're fit. They're having. I mean, like you work your ass off in these workouts, but I have not encountered one person yet, and maybe I've encountered them and I just didn't know this about them. But to be honest with you, I've not encountered one CrossFit person who's like an elitist or snobby or looking down on others or feels like this is like the answer to the world's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've not encountered that at all yet.
Well, I try to not harbor that type of person at my gym.
Okay.
If we do have those people, they usually tend to weed themselves out eventually.
At your gym?
Yeah.
Or in CrossFit in general?
At my gym.
Yeah, at your gym?
Okay.
Okay.
There are gyms out there who are solely focused on like the sport aspect of CrossFit.
Okay.
And that tends to be problematic for memberships and just overall attitude at the gym.
Okay, so it does exist.
Yeah. There's a small niche of people who are like probably feeling like holier than thou about their CrossFit abilities.
Yep.
But no, I try not to let that be the focus at my gym.
I've just never encountered it, and so the couple of times that it's come up, I haven't understood it. It's not resonated with me.
Yeah.
But this is what I'll say about Planet Fitness is like the fruits are you can tell how good the root is by its fruit, you know, and you can, in my opinion, this is what I would look at when I would consider what type of a gym do I want to go to is here's what I'm going to look at. I want to look at the people that go there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of judge based on that how good that gym is. And in my opinion, Planet Fitness isn't doing a great job because, well, you could just kind of do a survey of the people that go to Planet Fitness and a survey of CrossFitters. Let's do 100 each. And I will bet you some amount of money you pick that the 100 CrossFitters are going to be in much better shape than the 100 Planet Fitnessers.
So you're talking about like aesthetic wise.
I'm talking about you can just tell they're more fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that's not the whole story, but it's got to be some of it, right? I mean, you can tell a lot about how fit someone is by the way they look. And, you know, I just don't think some of those gyms they're too cheap and they don't require enough. There's no accountability. I mean, you may as well I'm sure it works for some people, so don't, completely misunderstand what I'm saying, but it wouldn't work for me.
Yeah.
Because I may as well just do body weight workouts at home.
Right.
I love, and this is like, to define CrossFit, it's high intensity, functional movements and constantly varied, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's the whole thing with CrossFit.
Yeah.
Which is both very well defined and on the other hand, well, that much I know. I mean, that's about it, but
that's the definition.
That's the definition.
Yeah,
and it's
of
both
CrossFit.
Yeah, it's both very defined and it's also very undefined.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about it. I like the constant variation. Like I like variety. It's just my personality. I love high intensity. I love that we're not doing like for 50 minutes, like doing like working your butt off for 50. It's too long. Mm-hmm. I love the 7, 12, 15 minute. Yeah. That's just, I really like that. And I like the accountability, and we've talked about this before, but just coming into a class at a certain time with people like it just really works. It works for me.
No, that group suffering is appealing for a ton of people.
Yeah.
A ton of people.
Go ahead.
Like doing burpees alone sucks, but when you have your buddies next to you suffering with you, it kind of alleviates some of that pain that you're going through.
Yeah.
So
totally. What do you see are some of the common denominators from your more successful athletes? And by more successful, I guess I just mean your more fit athletes, or the ones that you can see that it's made more of a difference for them. What are the common denominators between that group and the group that's just not making gains?
Being comfortable with getting uncomfortable, right? So earlier we were talking about aesthetics, okay? And this can go, I'll argue this for pretty much any type of fitness that you're doing. In order to look the way you want to look, and we'll use shredded and jacked, for example, you got to be willing to push through that pain, okay? You're not going to look like Rich Froning if you're not willing to when that workout gets hard, if you're not willing to keep pushing, mm-hmm. you're not going to see the results you want to see. So the people who look the way they want to look, and who look really fit at our gym, they've just gotten comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. And that goes for all types of fitness. If you aren't willing to push yourself into that dark place, mm-hmm. you're not going to be seeing the results you want to see.
Mm-hmm. And does that include being comfortable with being uncomfortable? Would include showing up 3 days a week if that's what you want to do?
3 days a week, if you're looking for aesthetic goals, is like the bare minimum.
Okay.
It really is. I would like... So you can show up and do CrossFit 3 days a week, but 1 or 2 of those other days, okay, or maybe 3 of those other days, you should be ideally doing something. Okay. I like thinking about sweating a little bit every day. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then life is going to throw you stuff where you're going to be too busy to get around to that workout. So like I try to work out every single day, but I know something's going to happen down the line where I'm not going to be able to work out. So I'm going to be glad that I worked out the day before, even though it was 10 days in a row, because that next day, I might not be able to get to work out.
Okay.
Yeah. Or I might get sick or something happens where I'm not able to work out.
Yeah.
But being able to, when it starts hurting, when your legs are burning from those air squats, but you just tell your mind you're going to keep going, you go anyway, that's where the results really happen.
Okay.
That's where you're going to get stronger. That's where you're going to start looking better.
Yeah.
And then the beautiful part about that is once you look aesthetically, once you look the way you want to look, then you can kind of ease off on how hard you're pushing the workouts and get into this maintenance mode. Okay. We're like, if you're totally fine with your 6-pack, okay, and you busted your ass getting there, like you went to the dark place every single workout or almost every single workout, and then you want to ease off in terms of how hard you're going to push in the workout, you can, and you'll pretty much look the same after that period of time. Okay.
Is this what you mostly do now? Like how hard are you beating yourself when you work out?
Right. The past couple months, so I considered myself retired, right? I'm still better than I was in 2014 at some things, but right now, especially the past couple weeks with this Corona stuff, like my mentally it's just taking a toll on me. The stress I'm going through, we just moved and I don't have my garage gym set up the way I wanted to. So I'm just kind of just going through the motions right now. Okay. I'm going to make it hurt, but I'm not going to that very dark place that I used to go to quite a bit. Okay. I'm kind of in like maintenance mode. I'm going to sweat, make it hurt, do what I can, and just be happy that I did it. All right. I'm not worried about the whiteboard and, beating this and that in person at the gym or trying to get a certain score or time. Right now it's just, I'm just happy to sweat and work out.
How soon can, well, let's take me, for example. I've come and gone. How soon, if, let's say the gym opens back up again and I come 5 days a week, would you say, take it a little easy as you start, but 2 weeks in, just feel free to go as hard as you want. You're not going to hurt yourself? Or, I mean, can people just, if they're doing CrossFit, can you just give it 100% and not worry about hurting yourself? I mean, as long as your form's good.
Yeah. Injury is the rate of injury in CrossFit is actually very low. It does happen, just like any physical activity that you do. It does happen. Is it likely to happen if you're pushing harder? Like, you could probably argue that. But do I suggest that everyone, like if you're trying to hit those aesthetic goals that you might have, do I suggest that you go balls to the wall every single workout as hard as you can? No. No. I would say there should be like once or twice a week where you give it your absolute all. But those other days, you should be like focusing on like 80%, 90% effort.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So like not every workout you should be killing yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Those days that you feel good, maybe push the gas a little bit, but it shouldn't be every single workout by no means. Yeah. Even Rich Froning and Matt Frazier and Tia Claire Toomey, they know that too. And they train that way as well. They know. And that's why, they have a training cycle leading up to the CrossFit Games where, they'll work at certain percentages. How do I phrase this? They'll push themselves certain periods of time.
Right.
Okay. At certain percentages.
Okay.
And then they'll kind of ease up leading up to the games.
Yeah.
And so they can recover and then hit it at their best during the games, during competition.
Yeah. Okay. So they're arranging their training
cycles,
so they're at peak. They're ready for peak output.
Right.
Output when the games hit.
Yeah.
Well, that speaking of motivation, because when I start to travel and things like that's I have a really hard time working out when I'm on vacation or I'm traveling for business or whatever. That's the first thing to go is like, and when you see video of who's that NFL player that caught that Sunday night catch with his finger, basically he was playing for the Giants, Odell Beckham Jr.
Okay.
You don't watch much football?
I don't.
Really?
Sports at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I was seeing some videos of him working out at like 11:30 at night because they were traveling somewhere, like things like that. It's really inspiring. If someone's the only way to fit in a workout is like 11:30 at night, and you still do it. That's super inspiring for me.
Yeah.
What's going on in Cookeville? So, Froning.
What's the appeal?
Yeah, what's fascinating to me is different areas have hotspots. So, Nashville, healthcare. New York, finance. In the shed industry, there's a lot of rent to own in like Paris, Tennessee. It's just something like that. That seems to be the way things work. Movies, Hollywood, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's, Cookeville has Froning and apparently Fraser and Tia Toomey now, and maybe some others that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Are they there to train under Froning, or like what is it that attracts these top level talents to kind of cluster together?
Well, I think the main reason for Fraser was that we don't have any income tax. Right? So when he gets that $1 million check for winning the CrossFit Games and his primary residence is Cookeville, Tennessee, he gets to keep a little bit more of that money.
Oh, interesting. Where was he from?
I think Burlington, Vermont.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he likes the kind of mountainous region of Cookeville or Tennessee. Okay, so like I remember seeing a video of him like driving around. He's like, oh, I could live here. Like I like the layout of the land. And then Froning, he's got, probably the premier CrossFit training facility in maybe the world or one of them.
Oh, really?
Right?
Okay.
He owns CrossFit Mayhem, which is a massive, massive gym with all the equipment you could ever need. So there's that. And then just the environment of athletes was appealing to, I think, Fraser when he decided to move here. Like he could train with Froning if he wanted to, or a bunch of Froning's teammates who are also super high caliber athletes. So the environment was appealing to him too, I think. I'd imagine. But there's nothing like, I don't know. Have you been to Cookeville?
I've driven through Cookeville. It's like it's kind of the middle of nowhere. Like it seems very country, It doesn't feel like there's much there.
No.
But
Yeah, I've only been a couple times, never spent really any time in the city. But I'm assuming cost of living is pretty cheap.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? A $500,000 house in Cookeville versus Nashville is going to get you something quite different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It's fairly close to a major city and airport. So I think it's like 75 minutes from, I don't know. I haven't spent much time there, so I don't really have any comment on the actual place.
I just find it fascinating how some of the top level, really the Fraser, well, who won last year? Who won the games in
Fraser and Tia?
Fraser and Tia in 19?
Yeah. Fraser's won 16, 17, 18, 19. So 4 in a row.
Oh, wow. So it went Froning 4 years in a row to Fraser 4 years in a row.
Yeah. And if there's a games this year, they might cancel because of Corona. Who knows? Just like the Olympics have been, I think, postponed. This ain't crazy times. The Olympics
Insane.
Postponed. And you got so many athletes who have been training their asses off for.
You're so right. For
just,
years.
I know.
Could
you imagine? And like if somebody gets injured in the next year, when the Olympics were after it's supposed to happen, there's just like so many variables that are life altering.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What was I saying?
Well, we were just talking about all the top Fraser winning the last 4 years.
Yeah, last 4 years. So
I just find it fascinating how the top level sort of cluster. I assume they sort of build off each other too.
Absolutely.
Are they all being is Fraser being coached by Froning?
No.
Okay.
No.
But
Fraser and Tia, if you care to know, Tia's married to Shane Orr.
Did she get married?
Yeah.
On that documentary, they were still engaged.
Yeah, she got married. And Shane Orr is her husband, and he coaches her. And he also recently started coaching Fraser. And Fraser and Tia are training partners now, and they do everything together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and they're the best in the male division, best in the female. They feed off each other, and it's probably a great and very effective duo.
Yeah. In that documentary, Froning was coaching, I think it was Sarah. So it was Sarah Sigmund's daughter?
Yeah, it sounds.
It looked like he was coaching her anyway.
She was living there at the time, right?
It could be.
In
It didn't mention that.
Okay.
It just looked like it showed a couple of shots where he was coaching her, and it looked like he was. Where is Sarah and
Iceland?
Iceland.
Where's she from? Yeah. There's a bunch of Icelandic girls who are like the best, some of the best, like Katrin, Annie Thor's daughter, who is pregnant now, not competing. She won, I think, once or twice. And then you have Katrin David's daughter. She won 2 years in a row. And then you have Sarah Sigmund's daughter, who's like one of the best, but I think she's placed third before, second or third, but never won.
You think it's just the genetic makeup?
Genetics plays a huge role in how good you are at anything.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Like you can put in the work, okay, but if somebody is genetically more built for whatever it is that they're doing, and then they put in the work, they're probably going to do a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it stands to reason for sure.
Yeah.
I've always felt like left-handed people have an advantage when it comes to like baseball and football, like just like athletics like that. I don't know what that is. I've never heard any science behind it, but the most athletic people that I know, or the most athletic people I know with my friends, they're left-handed people. No idea why.
Are you a lefty?
No, I'm not that athletic.
My son Atlas is a lefty.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. But no, yeah. You have those genetic variables that do play a role. For sure.
Who inspires you? Like, who do you kind of follow or get inspiration from related to diet and exercise?
A lot of people. Diet wise, probably, man, I have to give credit to Tim Ferriss. Like not his specific diet, but he was like kind of like Michael Pollan, the catalyst to introducing me to a lot of different people who I became fans of. Right. So a lot of people, it all kind of goes back to Tim Ferriss. Yeah, that's pretty crazy to think about, actually. But I don't know. Fitness wise, Greg Glassman. So the owner and founder of CrossFit. Just like knowledge wise about exercise and disease and all that type of stuff. I got to give credit to him. And I'm not just like sucking up to CrossFit because I'm a CrossFit gym owner. It's just he's been very, very appealing in his knowledge of things and just his delivery. He's kind of got like this I don't give a crap attitude, and I'm appealed. I'm drawn to that.
Yeah.
Food wise, Chris Kresser, he was the guy on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's, I think, very even keeled about like, he's not too dogmatic about certain things, and that kind of pushes me away when people are like, this is the only way to do it. Right.
Yeah.
So those two, I guess, for fitness and diet.
And you mentioned Greg with CrossFit?
Greg Glassman, yeah.
And he is not who's the guy that kind of MCs the games? That's not Greg, right?
Greg, no, he almost has nothing to do with the CrossFit Games. And it almost seems like he's not a huge proponent of the CrossFit Games. A bunch of changes have happened in the past couple of years regarding the CrossFit Games. He defunded a whole bunch of stuff that was a whole bunch of money that was going into the CrossFit Games. He fired like over 100 employees, I think, like that, who were working on the CrossFit Games. And this whole thing now is CrossFit Health. So what they were spending most of their money on was the CrossFit Games. And in the past 2 years, they've changed that to CrossFit Health. So their main goal now is, and you could argue that it always has been this, is to get people healthy, right? But too much of it, he felt, was focused on the CrossFit Games.
I see. Yeah.
So it's changed quite a bit.
Now, I know some gyms that do a CrossFit type workout, but they can't hang the CrossFit sign over the door because it saves them some money.
Yeah.
You felt like there's value in having actual CrossFit, being in an actual CrossFit gym.
I do. Mm-hmm. I do. I believe in the brand and the methodology so much that I'm willing to pay to use the name.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah, and I think I kind of understand their arguments, although with the way I'm wired, it's like, I don't care if you're similar. Like, you're just not, it's not a CrossFit gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, in the past, especially I would say 5 to 10 years, high intensity is like the type of workout to do. Okay. Mm-hmm. And CrossFit is what brought that to, the mainstream.
Yep.
Okay. So you have a whole bunch of gyms, even in Nashville, who do like circuit training, high intensity circuit training. And what that generally is CrossFit. They just don't call it CrossFit. Mm-hmm. CrossFit headquarters and their legal team will be all over your ass if you market yourself as CrossFit, but don't pay to use the CrossFit name.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be like, this is like a CrossFit type gym or very similar to CrossFit workout, they're going to
on your ass.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they should be as well. They
day.
should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if people want to use that for their benefit, they need to be paying for it. Mm-hmm. So I have the Ski Erg, a kettlebell.
How long have we been at this? What time is it?
I don't know. What time is it, Lincoln? It's 1:50. Are you still good on time?
Yeah. 2 hours?
I don't know.
For 2 hours?
2 hours and 11 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, we can change the tune up a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to hear you. Well, first of all, we have you on video, so kind of hear you talk through the skier, what parts of the body it uses, what kind of muscles it develops. Same for the kettlebell and even the barbell, and then show us like some form or some movements. And I'd even like with the kettlebell and barbell, I'd love to know like what are some of your, I don't know, what are the most useful movements or some of your favorite movements? That'd be great.
Okay. Do you want me to talk into the mic or
take the you can take your headphones off and then just swing that mic. Swing that mic around and then just speak directly into the mic the best that you can. Yeah. So
all right, so if any of my members are listening, they hate the Ski Erg. Most people hate the Ski Erg. I don't know why. It's probably
I hate it. Although I have been enjoying using it, though.
Right. Of the 3 machines that we have at the gym, the rower, the assault bike, and the Ski Erg, I would say pain-wise, this is for me personally, this is the less painful. No matter how hard and fast you go, I think this is the less painful, the least painful. But we bought these, we bought 12 of them just over a year ago, and
I remember when you got them.
Yeah, is that when you first joined?
I was with you for some amount of time before we got them because I just remember getting them and being excited about because I'd never used one before and I'd seen them at the games.
Yeah. So super fun. So this is going to focus on your lats. Okay. So it's going to build those wings. Okay. Those wings, your lats right here, your triceps a little bit, your core, and then a little bit of the posterior. Okay. A little bit of your legs. But it's mostly upper body, upper body. The first thing you're going to want to do for giving instructions is the handle is shaped a certain way. All right? You're going to want that fat part against your palm right here. Okay? The distance, you're going to be about hip width apart with your distance, hip width. And you're going to want to stand a little back from the monitor. So I like telling people you should be able to come like lean forward all the way without hitting your head on the monitor. Okay. So if I'm right here and I lean forward and hit my head, it's going to be a problem. Okay. So back up until you can come all the way forward, without hitting your monitor. Okay. So you're going to keep kind of a slight bend in your arms, but reach up with your arms. They should be over your head. Okay, to initiate this movement, you're going to bring the torso forward. Okay, so it's like doing a sit-up. I know you're standing, okay, but you're going to close your hips And then after your hips have closed, you're going to pull those hands down to your pockets approximately. Okay. The camera's set up in a way that you might not be able to see the profile, but I'll do a couple strokes in real time. On the recovery on the way up, okay, my chest comes up first and then my arms follow and they go right back to that starting position, okay? At no point should your arms fully straighten out, okay? Like you shouldn't do a tricep extension in the back, all right? It's just wasted energy. You're just pulling down to your thighs and then popping back up. Mm-hmm. Pretty straightforward. It does take some practice though. Like there's a lot of faults that happen. A lot of people will get it immediately, like it just makes sense. Those people might have some skiing experience, but a lot of people, it's going to take a lot of practice, and that goes for pretty much every movement.
When you're going up, you mentioned, okay, you want to use your body weight to pull down,
right?
And then you're using your arms, pulling it to about your pockets. Did you just mention you want to go chest up first and then arms?
Yeah. So if you look at my stroke on the recovery, the way up, you'll notice my chest rises first and then my arms.
Okay. Let me hit a couple of those and you can give me some thoughts. You got that video on there? Because I have been sort of enjoying learning this.
Yeah.
And I like what I feel like where the muscle gains would be. I feel like that I want to grow there.
Yeah. Go. That looks good. Yeah.
Decent.
I mean, yeah, I could be really nitpicky about some things, but generally speaking, that's what you want it to look like.
What would you nitpick on that?
Like you could probably bend your knees just a little bit more, okay? You might not want to come as far down with the chest, but
okay.
And since you're a little bit shorter, popping up on your way up to start the stroke.
Yep.
Popping up onto your tiptoes will help with that range of motion.
Yep.
Okay. So a machine like this and the rower, taller people are at a slight advantage just because without trying, we can pull the handles a greater distance simply because we're taller.
Yep. How tall are you?
6'2".
Okay. And you're about 200 pounds?
205, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But tomorrow I could make myself 215.
That's crazy. How would you do that? Seriously.
At the end of the day, make myself back to 205.
Would you
eat a lot of crap?
You would. Okay.
Eat a lot of high carb, fatty, salty foods. And then to lose it, I would have to sweat just a lot.
Okay.
I'd have to really, really sweat.
Yeah.
Like, the workout Murph?
Yeah, I don't know what's all in Murph. I've heard of it a ton of times.
Murph is one of the more popular CrossFit workouts. It's done every Memorial Day. It's to benefit Michael Murphy, a fallen Navy SEAL. The movie, there's a movie about it that came out recently with, I don't know. Anyway, it's a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, mile run. So a ton of reps. Mm-hmm. There was one year where I went into the workout weighing like 215, and by the time I was done with that workout, I weighed 205. 10 pounds in the matter of
That's insane.
an hour.
I've never heard the likes. I didn't even know that was possible.
The what?
I've never heard the likes. Like, I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
To lose 10 pounds in a workout.
Yeah.
What about barbell and kettlebell? What would be some of your favorite movements on that?
The most beneficial movement with the kettlebell by far is the kettlebell swing. Okay. You're pretty much working your entire body, especially if you're going overhead American swings. That's the most common one you're going to do. And it's probably one of the easier ones to learn. And it's just working so many different muscle groups. So that one is probably the best. There's a whole bunch. Everything you can do with a barbell, you can do with a kettlebell. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that you can do with the kettlebell that we usually don't do in class simply because it's not as effective as the kettlebell swing in terms of what we're trying to get out of it, I guess.
Yeah, and you can give us some, like, show us some form on that. But what muscle group is a kettlebell swing hitting? I feel like it's the back's got to be involved, right?
Yeah. So if we're going American swings, we're the swing portion, the popping the hips open, you're working those hamstrings, your glutes, your low back. Okay, those are the main ones there. All right. And then since we're going up all the way overhead, we're engaging some upper body. Okay. So your shoulders, upper back a little bit. All right. Those are going to be worked. Your grip. Okay. So you're also going to be, especially if you're doing higher rep, you're going to work your grip. Okay. So your forearms, those are going to get a nice pump from the kettlebell swing, especially if you combine it with something with like power cleans or pull-ups, something else that is really grippy. Mm-hmm. But I'll show you some American swings. Mm-hmm. So we want that back always, pretty much whenever we're lifting, okay? Whenever we're lifting an implement, you always want your back set, okay? So your spine should be moving as one joint, all right? You don't want to round your back too much for pretty much any lift.
That would go for the deadlift too?
Right.
Okay.
For sure. The kettlebell swing is a hip hinge movement. So we're basically just opening and closing the hips. All right. The knees should have very slight flexion. All right. You're just unlocking your knees, but you're not bending them forward at all. Okay. That's a common fault in the kettlebell swing. Okay, so you want a pretty firm grip on the bell. Okay, you don't want that bell rotating in your palms for this. Double hand. Okay, if you can get all your fingers inside the handle like that, that's preferred. Since we are doing American swings going overhead, having everything locked out. Head through, arms straight.
Head through at the top, arms straight. But how about when you're coming up? It didn't look like your elbows were staying locked out. Do you want them?
Right. So there's a couple of different variations, but you can kind of bend those arms and somewhat change the path of it to keep it closer to the body and then press it out. Or you can swing, keep those arms straight and make this like rainbow arch the whole time.
Yeah. Which one do you normally do if you're doing a workout with kettlebell swings? So there the elbows are locked out.
I'll bend the arms a little bit.
Okay.
Speeds it up just a little bit.
Okay. I'll have to try. I don't think I've ever tried that.
But that hip extension is where the real benefit happens. So keeping your arms straight increases the range of motion, might work your grip a little bit more, but it's essentially the same thing.
Aside from a kettlebell swing, what would be some of the most common uses or best uses of a kettlebell?
Kettlebell snatches, Turkish get-ups, kettlebell clean and jerks, goblet squats, all sorts of things.
Yeah, okay. Goblet squat, you're holding it in between, your elbows are out, you're holding in between your squatting.
Right. So you can hold it like this. Okay. You can turn it upside down, hold it by the horns.
Yep.
I say. But I like to keep those elbows in. So that when you're in the bottom of the squat, they aren't hitting your knees like that.
Elbows in so they don't hit the knees when you're at the bottom of the squat.
Keep it on your chest to help that upright posture that you want in the squat.
Yeah. So I could do that here. I need to do those because that would be good that's legs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what were some of the other ones you mentioned?
Kettlebell snatch, kettlebell clean and jerk. That's the snatch. The bell rotates in my hand.
Yeah.
The clean is up to this position. Then you can go overhead with it. So clean and press. That's the press and clean and push press. You can clean and jerk.
There's a lot you can do with that. Wow.
Yeah, and that's just scratching the surface,
Yeah.
really. On earlier last week, I made probably like 15 videos of 15 different movements you can do with the kettlebell.
Yeah, I saw that on YouTube,
page.
right?
So
if someone goes on YouTube and just puts in CrossFit Forte, they'd find
that,
it. Okay.
And then if you're trying to do some kettlebell stuff and you're sick of doing kettlebell swings, you can watch those videos and they're just demos. There's not like instruction on how to do it. But if you know how to do the kettlebell swing, you should have a little bit more, you should be a little bit more ahead of the curve than just learning from scratch.
Yep.
Deadlift. That's probably number one of the first movements you want to learn with the barbell, how to pick it up properly, right? From the deadlift, and you can go to like hang power cleans and then power clean and then squat clean and then clean and jerk. Probably don't want to go on the jerk first. You probably want to do some presses, push presses, and then push jerks and then split jerks. And then squatting, like if you have a squat rack, front squat, back squat, those are both very essential and basic barbell movements.
For me at home or at the office here, wanting to work on arms, shoulders, upper body. So assuming that what we do is using that barbell sort of overhead, or at least, from the waist up, what would be some of the best movements to use there? This morning I was doing thrusters.
Of all the barbell movements, the thruster is probably the most effective in terms of full body workouts.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so you're putting the weight through a great range of motion, right? So you're doing a front squat, and then you're going from your shoulders to overhead. Okay, so that barbell travels a long distance, okay? And your body's obviously traveling a long distance too by squatting and then going up overhead. So the thruster is probably the king in terms of benefits of the barbell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What others would be similar that would benefit more parts of your body?
So, I mean, you can, if you want a full body exercise with the barbell, clean and jerk, okay? Especially if you're squat clean in it and then split jerk in it. So the barbell starts on the ground, you jump it to your shoulders, squat with it, stand up, and then you go overhead. Similar range of motion to the thruster. And then you have the snatch, widen your grip up, and then you essentially jump the barbell overhead. If you're doing a squat snatch, you receive it going into the overhead squat, and then you stand it up. The Olympic lifts and thrusters are going to be definitely the most, the highest range of motion. The longer the range of motion, the more fatiguing the movement, and it's going to be.
Yep. Good. Thanks for showing us that. You can pull your mic back down and get comfortable again. Oh, I was going to ask this. When you are writing a workout, which, by the way, I can send you an email, that way you don't have to remember, but pull that mic down there again for you. I would totally take you up on writing some workouts for skier, kettlebell, barbell.
Yeah.
How do you go about writing a workout? Like, what is the science there? Like, you're mixing certain movements with other movements, and and then you have time. That's a factor. Like, what's the science? Like, what's your philosophy behind writing a good workout?
So it's kind of like solving a puzzle, right? Certain days of the week, like Mondays, we're always going to focus on some type of squat. Okay. This is me personally at my gym. Tuesdays, we're always going to focus on some type of pressing. All right. So we'll go back. Mondays, we'll front squat, back squat, or lunge. Okay. Generally every single Monday. And then, so that'll be the strength portion. And then the Metcon will kind of complement the actual workout. The high intensity part will complement the strength portion. Right. So if we did front squats on Monday for the strength portion, expect to do some type of other leg exercise in the Metcon. All right. Squatting is just so important to life that we're going to focus on it every single week. And we're going to do multiple workouts with squats every single week. Doing leg squats or workouts involving the legs, there's so much musculature involved that it's just so much more taxing on the body too. So compared to like a shoulder press, if you do a front squat compared to a shoulder press at the same weight, you're going to be using way more muscle doing the front squat. All right. Tuesdays we'll do some type of overhead stuff or bench press. Okay. And then the Metcon will complement that too. Okay. I might take away the barbell. If we did strict presses in the strength portion, I might take away the barbell and we'll continue with pressing with like push-ups or handstand push-ups or ring dips, something like that. Wednesdays we'll do some type of pulling, typically. Okay, sometimes I change it up, but pulling with the lower body. So deadlifts, cleans, snatches, something where you're using your posterior chain. Okay, so we're hitting the anterior chain on Monday with the squats or the lunges. And don't get me wrong, posterior chain is involved with that too. Tuesday, we're hitting the upper body. And then Wednesday, lower body with the pulling. Thursday, I just mix it up. Friday, I do as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But classic CrossFit, I try to keep things simple, but enjoyable too. I try to make things appealing. There's a lot of different variables I have to keep my eye on when I'm writing workouts. Equipment, time domains, feasibility for the general population. Do the movements complement each other? Like I can't do squat after squat after squat with different things. There's a whole bunch of things, pieces to the puzzle that I have to consider to make it complete.
Yeah. So is the goal then for every day to give the kind of the full body, some range of motion or some work, or every week? In other words, like some days you'll have a workout that you're really not getting much legs, say. But you're fine with that because you're going to be hitting legs the next day or the next or whatever.
Right.
It's fine.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So there's something called periodization. That's basically you're planning. You're planning what you're going to be doing for the next week or next month or next half year. I try to keep that in mind, especially with the strength stuff that we do. And it's difficult because I don't know when you're going to be coming to the gym. So I could write a perfect program for you, but if you don't come every single day, you're going to miss out on some of that.
Yep.
So for CrossFit gyms as a whole, they have to keep that into consideration as well.
Yeah, okay. Oh, so I hadn't thought about that. So that's a good reason actually to just come 5 days a week if you can, because then you're getting the full smorgasbord of activity.
Because if you came on Monday for just 1 week and you didn't hit another Monday class for a month, you missed out on a good portion of squats that we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
So I could mix it up like that. I could make squat day Monday this week and then Wednesday next week and then Tuesday next week, but I don't think that would work out as well.
Yeah.
People would still miss random days.
Yeah, totally. Well, great, man. Anything else you want to say related to all of this in closing?
No. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being on. I appreciate it.